What if I told you that the CIA, the same agency that's known for spying, surveillance, and top-secret missions, has been quietly investigating something far more mysterious than nuclear threats or political conspiracies? I'm talking about reincarnation. Yeah, you heard that right. Not ghosts, not aliens, but actual government-funded research into whether we've lived before and whether we might live again. Sounds like science fiction, right? But here's the twist: this isn't fiction. These are real documents, declassified files, and verified case studies hidden in dusty government vaults for decades. And today, we're diving headfirst into what they didn't want you to know. So buckle up, because once you hear what the CIA uncovered about life after death, your view of reality might never be the same. The gateway that opened too much. Let's rewind to the 1970s. Bell bottoms were in. So was disco. And behind closed doors, the CIA was funding a program that sounded more like a sci-fi novel than national security. It was called the Gateway Project. On the surface, it looked innocent, an exploration into altered states of consciousness. Meditation, brainwaves, that sort of thing. But buried deep within the pages of the project's classified files were experiments that stepped way beyond stress relief and relaxation. They were trying to do the impossible: make people leave their bodies, access other dimensions, and possibly remember lives they had already lived. Let that sink in. This wasn't a couple of hippies in the woods talking about karma. This was the Central Intelligence Agency using tax dollars to investigate whether the soul could survive death and come back. And here's the wild part: some of the test subjects started recalling past lives. Detailed memories, specific places, names, wars, cultures they had no way of knowing. And the CIA? They didn't shut it down. They documented everything. Why would the CIA care about past lives? Now you might be thinking, okay, but why? Why would a spy agency care about reincarnation? Simple. Power. See, if reincarnation is real, that means memories, skills, and knowledge could carry over from one life to the next. What if someone could tap into a past life as a soldier, a scientist, or a diplomat, and recall information that no one alive knows today? You suddenly have an asset that's not just intelligent, but multi-lifetime intelligent. That's not woo-woo. That's weaponizable. Imagine recruiting spies who remember languages they never studied, or agents who have intuitive knowledge of enemy strategies from centuries past. Sounds crazy? Well, crazy is exactly the kind of thing the CIA loves to explore, especially if it gives them an edge. The boy who remembered dying and why. Let's talk about James Linger. This isn't a theory, this is a real case. James was just 2 years old when he started having terrifying nightmares of crashing in a plane during World War II. But here's the kicker: he knew the name of the aircraft carrier. He knew the names of fellow pilots. He even described the mechanics of a specific plane, a model no toddler should even know existed. At first, his parents thought it was imagination, until they started fact-checking every single detail. Checked out. The pilot James remembered had died under the exact conditions James described. And guess who took notice? Yep, the CIA. Leaked sources claimed the agency launched a full-blown investigation, trying to disprove the case. But the more they dug, the more uncomfortable the truth became. James wasn't just dreaming. He was remembering. And if one child could do that, who else could? Monroe Institute, the CIA's spiritual science lab. Ever heard of the Monroe Institute? It sounds like a wellness retreat, but in the 70s, it became the CIA's favorite playground. Founded by Robert Monroe, the institute specialized in out-of-body experiences, using sound waves to guide people into deep, altered states. They called it Hemi-Sync. Participants reported floating outside their bodies, visiting other planets, even experiencing past lives in ancient cultures they had no prior exposure to. Again, not your typical yoga retreat. And the CIA? They were right there, funding the experiments, taking notes, redacting everything they couldn't explain. Some believe they cracked the code, found ways to trigger past life memories intentionally. But they never told us. Why? Maybe they feared the spiritual implications. Or maybe they found something too powerful to share. The Soviets were doing it too. And then came the Cold War twist. Turns out, the CIA wasn't the only one dabbling in reincarnation research. Across the Iron Curtain, Soviet scientists were going even deeper. Hypnosis, chemicals, sensory deprivation tanks. Their goal? Trigger past life memories and see if they could be used for military advantage. Some test subjects described historical events with pinpoint accuracy. Details not even found in public records. When the CIA found out, they hit the gas pedal. This wasn't just about metaphysics anymore. It was war. And the battlefield? The human mind. The Eastern Edge, India, Tibet, and the search for truth. Here's where things get even more fascinating. The CIA began sending agents to India and Tibet not just to spy on foreign governments, but to observe something far older than any political system: reincarnation beliefs. In these cultures, reincarnation isn't a question. It's a fact of life. And guess what? The CIA took it seriously. Agents documented children who could identify relatives from past lives, pick out personal objects from previous incarnations, and describe entire lifetimes without prompting. One notable case? The Dalai Lama selection process. Young kids accurately choosing their old belongings from their former life as spiritual leaders, no hesitation, no guessing. The CIA watched, studied, took notes, but again, they didn't tell us what they found. Hypnosis experiments, a doorway to other lives. Now let's talk hypnosis. In the 1960s, the CIA tried using hypnosis not just to recover memories, but to reach beyond this life. They brought in volunteers, placed them under deep trance, and asked them to go back. Not to childhood, to before birth. And things got weird fast. People started describing lifetimes in ancient Egypt, feudal Japan, lost civilizations, names, rituals, languages, places they shouldn't have known. Some recalled traumatic deaths and came out of hypnosis, shaken to the core. The CIA took all of it down word for word. Then they went silent. The files? Mostly classified. Which makes you wonder, what did they find that scared them so much? Stargate program, accidental past life viewing. You've probably heard of the CIA's remote viewing program project Stargate. It was all about psychic spies seeing enemy locations with nothing but their minds. But here's something most people don't know. Some viewers started reporting scenes not from far-off lands, but from far-off centuries. They'd witness battles, hear ancient languages, even feel emotions that weren't theirs. At first, the CIA dismissed it as noise, but it kept happening, consistently. Eventually, they had to ask, are our agents tapping into memories from lives they've already lived? And if so, what else can the human mind do that we've forgotten? The missing files, what they don't want us to see. Now, here's the part that'll give you chills. In the late 80s, a stack of key CIA documents on reincarnation research suddenly disappeared. Gone. Whistleblowers say those files held the real juice. Proof of controlled reincarnation recall. Documented intelligence recovered from past lives. Techniques to trigger past life memories on command. But poof, vanished. Some say they were destroyed to avoid public backlash. Others believe they were locked away in deeper vaults. possibly even in private Black Ops archives. Because if this stuff got out, it could rewrite everything we know about death, about identity, about who we really are. Reincarnation as a weapon. Let's get even darker. There's evidence the CIA didn't just want to understand reincarnation. They wanted to use it. Psychological warfare. Imagine convincing an enemy they're paying for past life karma, that they're doomed to repeat their mistakes. Under hypnosis, you plant the idea that they betrayed someone in a past life. And now, they can't trust themselves. Mind games on a whole new level. The agency explored this, and maybe even tested it. Because if you can shape someone's sense of identity, you don't just influence their choices. You own them. So here's the big question. If the CIA spent decades and millions of dollars investigating reincarnation, if they studied kids remembering past lives, if they documented ancient knowledge recalled under hypnosis, if they partnered with institutes and infiltrated spiritual cultures across the globe, then why haven't they told us what they found? Maybe because what they discovered doesn't fit into the world we've been taught to believe. Maybe because the real truth makes us too powerful to control. And maybe, just maybe, you've been here before, watching this, hearing these words, feeling that strange sense of déjà vu, because this moment, it might not be your first time. Thanks for watching. And if this awakened something inside you, let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to check out the next video we go even deeper. Like, share and subscribe for more truths hidden in plain sight.